Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at your comments and take a look at the news, and we combine all the information so that we can put it to good use as a community of English-speaking locals living here in Puerto Vallarta. Today is Friday, June 9. Let's cue our song. Yes. But no more than a few seconds because we don't want to upset the YouTube demigods. It's a pleasure to see you. I'm all fidgety in the best possible way because we had a great music appreciation presentation yesterday. I'll tell you about that in a second. And of course, I'm all fidgety because we don't have a lot of news, so I'm improvising a little bit today, but that's okay. I decided to put together a quick and dirty story about payphones in Mexico, because there is a very popular expression, even today, that we use all the time. I use it all the time, and you are going to love it. And it stems from when payphones were first installed through Mexico. But first, as always, if there are any new viewers watching live and you wish to let us know, all you have to do is write the word new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If there's something really important on your mind, a capital letter Q helps, because then we bring it up, like this wonderful comment from our friend Claude. I hope you had a great turnout yesterday. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun, and it's all Betsy Ann's fault because she's the one that suggested yesterday's topic on plagiarism. I'll tell you a little bit about how that went in just a second. But if you have something really important that you wish to bring up, a capital letter Q helps a great deal so we can find it in the broadcast later on. Let me set up my news so that we can take a look at them together. And of course, it helps if we're not looking at a black screen. There you go. What are we looking at? We're looking at Happy Postmen. Yes, believe it or not, we still have postmen in Puerto Vallarta and in Mexico. And our local postman couldn't be happier because Mexico's postal service just delivered new motorbikes for them. I hope they didn't deliver them by mail. And that deserves one of these. Oh, dear. A total of 233 motorbikes will be updated throughout the state of Jalisco. So this is always a good thing. I have not used a postal service in forever. I haven't sent a postcard or received one. All I get through the mail is bills. And of course, when Christmas comes, I get Christmas cards, but I don't get them until March, maybe April. What about you? Do you rely on the postal service here in town? If you do, let me know. I used to send myself postcards whenever I traveled just because it was fun to collect them, but not anymore. Now, we told you a few days ago about the special commemorative water bottles that Tupperware released to support the Mexican synchronized swimming team. And in case you were thinking of running out to the store and purchased one of these to support the team, they've run out, which means that the run was successful. It was all very good. I read in a lot of, well, not a lot, a couple of news items that the people, the ladies, and I think there's a couple of guys that are part of the synchronized swimming team, were able to recover their support from Mexico's National Sports Commission, putting Ana Guevara, whatever her last name is, Garcia maybe, I forget, the director, in a very awkward position because it was she who decided, well, they are complainers and whiners and they shouldn't get any money anyway. And that didn't make her look very well in the eyes of the public. But you already knew that because we talked about that last week. So we're not going to dwell in that topic. And now let me set up my weather forecast. Come on, weather forecast. Where are you? No. Where is... there it is. Thank you very much. I like presidents who don't get indicted twice. Of course, we know what this is about. We don't need to go there because that's what YouTube and CNN and Fox News are for. Today is 27 degrees, have 27 degrees right now. Humidity is at 57%. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 80. Our weather forecast for today says it's going to be humid with mostly cloudy skies throughout the day, with a high of 31 and a low of 23. Tomorrow, Saturday, another humid day with partly cloudy skies, a high of 30 and a low of 22. And on Sunday, humid with mostly clear skies throughout the day, a high of 31 and a low of 23. I took the bus home last night after I made my presentation in Colonia Emiliano Zapata, and I got off the bus right one block away from my house, and I could feel a drizzle, ever so slightly, but I could feel a drizzle. But at the same time, I have been instructed not to wish for rain until Sunday because our good friends Chris and Carlos from the Secret Wine Bar are having their last 2 days open, today and tomorrow. So because their bar is outdoors, I stopped by to say goodbye to them because I know that they're closing shop and they're leaving town. So we had a wonderful time. I went with my new friend Lars, and we were the only two at the bar. So we had this wonderful opportunity to exchange impressions with Chris and Carlos, who leave town very gratified from the experience of running such a successful operation. They've received a lot of support from the community, but they chuckled and told me every time that you wish for rain or you say that you're doing the happy dance, we cringe because, we don't want it to rain before we close. So no rain happy dance for them until Sunday. So if you want to say goodbye to Chris and Carlos at the Secret Wine Bar, tonight or tomorrow night would be the time to do it. Now, I want to show you something awesome that I found on the internet, and this is a classic phone booth in a Mexican city from the 1960s. This is when payphones were introduced throughout Mexico. Prior to that, people would send letters and messages to each other through messenger services within the same city, or even telegrams. It was in 1959 that a private company called Ericsson stopped controlling telephone service in Mexico, and Teléfonos de México, or what we know now as Telmex, took over. And I don't remember these big booths throughout Mexico, but when I was growing up as a kid, I do remember these. These are very, very snazzy. These are from the 70s. And of course, they had rotary dials. But these we would use with these ginormous 20-cent coins. 20-cent coins. But look at the size. They are about the same size as a 10 peso coin of today. These were the coins that I used as a teenager to call my friends on the payphone whenever I wanted to have conversations with them that I couldn't have from my parents' home. And I mentioned this for a reason that will become clear in a second. As a factoid, it was in 1985, after a major earthquake in Mexico City, that Teléfonos de Mexico made all payphone calls free so people could be in touch with their relatives. This lasted for a few years, but then Carlos Slim purchased Teléfonos de Mexico in 1989, and he rebranded it as Telmex, introducing digital services and a prepaid card system for new digital phones. And you're probably wondering why we're talking about this today. I would be wondering the same thing. Let me introduce you to a very common, popular phrase that we use in Mexico all the time. Me cayó el veinte, which literally means the 20 fell for me or fell on me. Why do we say me cayó el veinte? Well, I don't know how payphones worked in other countries, but I do remember vaguely that if you would dial a call and the line was busy or there was no answer, you would hang up the phone and you would get your coin back. But if your call went through, the 20 cent coin would drop into the phone, and as such, you had spent it and the 20 had fallen. So the phrase me cayó el veinte, or the 20 fell for me, started implying that the phone call was successful, but it became a common phrase that is now used today whenever you have an epiphany or you put A and B together. When somebody's telling you a story, and for example, yesterday I was showing musical examples in my lecture, my presentation, about music that may have inspired the theme for Succession on HBO. And because my friend Michal was there and she was present, of course she was present, but she was there. Because Michal and I and Barry were watching Succession together, I saw the look on Michal's face when she made the connection that some music that we played by a classical composer sounded a lot like the music of Succession, and her face went something like this. So when her face went like this, like that, that means that le cayó el veinte. So she put A and B together. She had an epiphany. So that's why we use that phrase. So that was the reason why I chose to show you the phone booth history today, so you could learn a new phrase whenever you want to dump your boyfriend and you're hinting, and finally your boyfriend says, oh, you don't want to go out with me anymore. Then you can say, te cayó el veinte. Well, that would be a mean thing to do. So don't do that. I have one announcement to make. If you are a Democrat and you live here in Puerto Vallarta, that makes you a Democrat abroad. And if you want to connect with your tribe, well, your tribe is having an event at 4 o'clock at Whiskey Kitchen on Wednesday, June 14th. Now, you will notice that it says 3 p.m., not 4 o'clock here. And you may recall, obviously you're going to get the information for this event in the show notes. You may recall that I've been squirming with Facebook because it seems to be showing my events at the wrong time. Well, I finally figured out the source of that issue. I still don't know how to solve it, but it's the funniest thing. If I look at an event on Facebook, while I'm signed up on my personal Paco page, it shows up at the right time. But when I switch over to my Coffee and Headlines page, Facebook shows the events 1 hour early. It's a freaking mystery. But unfortunately, this means that all the events that I have been featuring here at Coffee and Headlines ever since this anomaly started actually began 1 hour later than I announced them. So I've been giving you inaccurate information. So I'm going to continue to find a way to fix this issue in which in my own computer I get two different time zones when I signed up to two different personas here on Facebook. And I'll make sure that in the future, when I tell you that things are going on, I make sure that I do so at the proper time. And this brings us to Chit Chat, just to see what everybody is up to. And to say good morning back to you, good afternoon, of course, to our dear friend David, who is watching in Boston. Yes, I'll stop picking my nose. Let's see what we have for today. Oh, the Music Appreciation Workshop. It was so much fun. And it was great because it was a really fun topic. It was a topic that I knew about, but definitely Betsy Ann, when she suggested it, she totally sent me down the most wonderful rabbit hole, not hall, hole, whatever. Let's see what we have here. And yes, the turnout was great. There were 11 people present, which is good enough for me. It gave her like a nice little cozy get together. There was at least one person that I'd never met before, and it was fun. She realized that I'm a lot more than a torso. I told her, yes, I have body parts like down there, and I have a midline section, just like everybody else. And of course, there are a number of regular folk that come to the presentations either frequently or all the time, which makes me very, very happy. And they suggested a topic for the future, which is everything about enjoying opera. That will be our first presentation in July. As soon as I get dates from the Joint Co-working Hotel, I'll let you know. Of course, my second presentation this month, partly in appreciation of 4th of July, which is coming up, is to tackle Aaron Copland and George Gershwin, two quintessentially American composers. Which makes me think I should put together something about Canada musicians so that my Canadian friends don't get on my case. Do you have any suggestions for music appreciation presentations? They are always welcome here or through our contact form. Or in person when you attend, of course. Let's see what we have. Oh, how wonderful. Gina and I are having coffee next door to you, Paco. How snazzy is that? Angelica laughs. Doesn't the postman travel in burro? Well, sometimes it feels like they do because the postal service has never been very, very, very efficient in Mexico. But that's the way it's been since forever. Question, have you considered having a guest on with you for a portion of the broadcast? Example is Gina. Yes, that would mean having Gina come here to my home studio, which means I would have to make my home studio presentable to a guest. Sometimes I've thought about doing pre-recorded interviews, and we've talked about that. We feature those from time to time. Then at times we've talked about doing remote broadcasts, and that is always an iffy thing because it depends on the quality of the internet service available wherever we are. But yes, one of these days, maybe we'll have Gina come over and have coffee with me as we're broadcasting. All I would have to do is slide over and make room for two people. Let's see. Thank you, Claude. Yes, let us stop the rain dance until Monday in support of the Secret Wine Bar. Absolutely. Putting pam 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 pam. Ooh, Harold is spending time with the mummers, watching your show from my vacation residence in Philadelphia. Enjoy your time away from the Bay. Let's see what we have. Ours was drop the dime and usually refers to calling the police on someone. Ah, interesting. I never knew that expression before in English. So there you go. We've exchanged expressions today. Let's see what else we have. Pamela, it is a pleasure to read you and thank you very much for your comment. Much appreciated. And oh, I love this. I am 90 hours away from returning. I certainly hope that your trip will be successful and that you will arrive safely. And this, of course, brings us to the end of today's broadcast and the beginning of our weekend. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow with some special announcements and our new appreciation segment. So I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. In the meantime, curb your rain dances. Let us hope for rain after Sunday, and let us wish a successful turn of the page to our dear friends Chris and Carlos from the Secret Wine Bar. I hope to read you and see you soon. Have a good one.